you know. There's several samples of it, and I haven't committed to either direction, but the concept is there. It's resonating with people, and it just goes back into everything that we're doing, right? It goes back into all of this and you guys and the whole concept of us just networking and supporting and getting to know each other and exchanging dialogue about the entrepreneur journey. Because it's an everyday journey, right? It's not like I didn't arrive, Jason didn't arrive, right? Like JT and Juan and Alex didn't arrive. We're arriving every day. Like it's a continual process. So
There's a quote I love that talks about that says, you know, success is never owned, it's rented, and the rent's due every day.
yeah, man. Yeah,
That's, I mean, that's a perfect analogy. I think it's somebody really smart put that together for me to repeat.
it is such a great quote, and it's so true, because it's like working out and exercising, and like like JT was saying, and Juan were saying, you got to put in the work, and it's due more than one day at a time, right? Like, the older we get, three to 5 days a week is not going to cut it if we're trying to make results, you know. So yeah, so that's my win.
Very nice, man. Congratulations on that
Yeah.
book. I can't wait to see the book cover, man. That's
Yeah, thanks.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Super excited. Let me see if we can tap into Alex before we jump into our spotlight. Alex, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry I'm late, guys. Yeah, I just had a consultation call that ran a little over, but no, yeah. Um no, I mean, yeah, everything you said was on point, Jacob. I mean, it's yeah, just really, yeah, I can definitely relate to all that. Um I guess as far as wins, no, just just thankful and blessed to just have another productive week, or so far another productive week. A lot of positive movement forward. So
That's good. Yeah, that's good to hear,
Right
man.
on, man.
That's good to hear, Alex. So, what I had introduced last week when Alex and Jason and I were on the call was doing a weekly spotlight. And I think that that'll help us get to know each other a little more, know our business a little more, and then also know how, we want to know how we can help each other, right? So, like at the end, basically circling back, like, what can I do for you, JT? What can I do for you, Alex? What can I do for you as a group? And then we kind of understand if there's ever an opportunity, we know how to navigate that. You know what? JT said he works primarily this particular area or clientele, or he's got a specialty in this particular market, for example, right? Whatever that may be. Alex and Alex went last week, he was the first. So we'll circle back to Alex again at the end since he went first last week. And we'll give him the opportunity to jump back at the end. But I think that'll prove very fruitful for us, so we know how we can support each other, like should there be an opportunity, right? So I did ask Jason to be our spotlight for tonight, and I'm excited about that. So Jason, let's go.
All right. So I did a couple things. I got 10 minutes. I did at the end of all this, I want to share how I come up with this. So remind me, I think y'all get a kick out of it. But I've got, some bullet points here of how
Yeah.
I'm going to do all this, and I got it all worked out for 10 minutes. So I was going to
Love
start
it.
with my company, but I think that I want to stay primarily focused with the charity that I'm involved with. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to roll with.
Yeah.
All right. So Duchenne's muscular dystrophy. DMD is a muscle wasting disease that affects primarily uh, young boys. Typically, they're diagnosed with this at around 4 to 6 years old, 7 years old, right? And typically, on average, they lose their ability to walk by the time that they're 10 years old. Okay, it's a muscle wasting disease So the legs are the first to go, right? The heart is a muscle people don't realize. And so um, these kids, if they're lucky, they see 20 years old, 20-ish, right?
Wow.
And as a parent, um, one of the worst sentences I think you could get as a parent is knowing that you're going to have to bury your child.
Yeah.
And so that these kids with DMD and their parents and their families, this is what they go through. So Mile Monsters is an organization that is it's really simple. It's a biker organization, and their sole purpose is to help kids with DMD and their families live their best lives. It's that simple. That's what they do. I'm a rider, Rider. It sounds like I'm saying writer, but I'm a rider with Mile Monsters, and the riders are known as monsters. The kids are known as heroes. And so monsters ride for heroes. This is how the language works in the Mile Monster organization. But I got introduced to this organization in the summer of 2023, last year, July. Um, there was one of our heroes who actually lives here in Shirts. Talk about a small world. There's currently 5 heroes in the Mile Monster program. One's in Shirts. His name is Goat, Gavin the Goat. There's another one in California, Turbo, Gunners in Pennsylvania, and then there's two other ones, Jack and Alfie. They're out in Ireland. So to have one of these kids live like basically as my neighbor was just wow, you know. Um, so how I got involved with Mile Monsters was last year. I got a very rare front row seat to see the organization up close and personal, how they do, you know, the impact that they have. And I won't get into the particulars, but I was basically asked to go along with a ride that they had set up. See, Gavin at the time was 8 years old, and so they know that his ability to walk is coming to an end. And so they reached out to Gavin, and they gave him a wish, and they said, "Hey, you know, anything you want to do, you tell us what it is." Well, Gavin's an avid rider. He rides with some of the other monsters pretty frequently, and so he's probably logged more riding miles than a lot of adults already. And so his wish was he wanted to see as much of Texas as he could. So he said, you know, I want to see every Harley Davidson dealership in the state of Texas. And the only time that, because he has treatments and you know he goes to school and all those things, so the only opportunity that he had was during July of last year, and that was in Texas. July, we had record-breaking heat. The trip was 8 days, and it was over 4,000 miles, and that kid rode every mile.
Wow.
Whenever it was first initially brought to me, I was like, I got questions, you know, is this, you know, we're gonna put him in a car and they're gonna take him around, just put him on a bike. He rode every mile. He rode every mile. He did biker shit with us. He camped on the beach with us. He you know, he lived that life, you know, for 8 days. And so uh I wouldn't consider myself a monster at the time. You know, I was just simply there to record as much of it as I could as a favor. Um, so before the ride kicked off, I'd convinced the monster to bring my son along, you know, and you know, I was like, hey, you won't even know we're there. We're self-sufficient. You know, we don't need anything. We'll be good. So along the way, I got to meet Jess and Manny, who are Gavin's parents. And I met them the first day whenever we left, of course. But when we were in Tyler, Texas, which was, I think it was around day 5 or 6, there was a big heroes welcome. They had the news crew. They had a bunch of stuff for Gavin whenever we showed up to Lone Star Harley. And they just really had the huge heroes welcome for him. You know, it was just great. And then one of the funny things looking back was one of the videos. They said, "Hey, we went to Tyler today. How would you think about that?" And he goes, uh, "Well, they had church. They had Cane's chicken, and that was really good." So, but anyways, he goes, so while we were there, I got a chance to meet and talk with Jess and Manny, and I'm doing my recording thing, and trying to document as much of this as I could. And things started to change for me a little bit, especially since I was there with my son. Um, I talked with Jess and I said, they just got done talking, doing an interview, and one of the things that they were talking about was their openness with their son. From day one that they've been diagnosed, they shot him straight and they said, "Hey, look, this is what's going to happen. You're going to lose your legs. You're after that, this is the sequence of events that you're facing." And they got a lot of flack for that from a lot of people. How could you do that? That's a horrible thing. You know, um, so as they were wrapping up that part of the interview, I started to get a little choked up because for a couple of reasons. One, it's just a horrible thing that any parent would have to go through, right? But also as a parent myself and being on this trip with my son, um,
Yeah.
my son and I both came to the realization that I would never know what these parents go through. I can see what they are going through, but I will never know firsthand what they're going through. My son will never know firsthand what Gavin goes through. He's losing his ability to do everything every single day. For simple things, being able to turn a doorknob, walk long distances. His body is degrading every day, and we don't have any idea. Most people have no idea what that's like.
Yeah.
So I had this moment with them, and I just I'm getting a little choked up now. Uh, I told Jess that um i- if I was dealt this sentence, I would like to think that I would have the courage to deal with it the way that you are, you know. Um, and so that's from then on, I guess you would say I was a monster. Um, the impact that Mile Monsters has on these kids and their families is it's just easily seen. So some of the things that the Mile Monsters do is they do annual rides. Every year they're doing something different, right? So last year they had a few rides. One of them was the Goats Texas Tour, right? Another one was the the Monster 100. And so what that consisted of was two riders every day for 100 days rode 1,000 miles. So on the 100th day of that ride, Mile Monsters flew all of the heroes and their families out to Sturgis during the rally, and that's
Wow.
where the 100th day took place.
Wow.
And it was just it was just just an awesome time. Um, the riders who are known as monsters, we contribute um, uh, to the fundraising. We do all of our own fundraising, and so we spend all of our own money. We do have all of our own resources, all of our own ideas. For this year's ride is in Lebanon, and my fundraising, I've volunteered to be tased by one of the kids. If I raise $10,000, one of these kids is going to tase me live on Facebook in Lebanon, Kansas. And so um, the riders, the monsters, we're all incumbent to come up with our own style and our own and our own things. The impact that they've had on the kids, though, is some of the smallest things, like 13 Days of Christmas, um, to big things like they have purchased wheelchair accessible vans for two families now. Just bought a complete, those are huge expenses, and they were able to absorb those expenses for these kids and their families. um Wheelchair ramps, wheelchair accessibility is a big thing. And you know some of these kids who are diagnosed when they're 6 or 7, and then they're losing their ability to walk 3 years later, these families aren't prepared for that. They got a lot of times, two families just recently this last summer have had to buy new houses, to be able to retrofitting is just not an option. So this last minute here, damn it, I went over, but the last minute here, I'll say the two big ways that we approach this are through donations and fundraising and awareness, right? So donating is what it is. We do all of our own fundraising, all the different monsters do, and it all goes, at the end of the day, it all goes into one pot. And I'm so blessed and happy and thankful that I do not have to decide where 1 cent is spent, because that would be a horrible, horrible thing for me to have to deal with, you know. I just try to raise as much as I can. The other big thing, and one of the major things that I focus on, is the awareness part. I didn't know of Duchenne's muscular dystrophy until I met Gavin, and it's considered a rare disease, so it doesn't get a lot of funding, and it's 100% fatal. And it affects, there's a couple of cases of females, but it's mostly boys, mostly young boys.
Wow.
Um, the documentary that we made, Goats Texas Tour, you can find at goatstexastour.com. Um, there's links to a bunch of different stuff, trailers that we put together. It's going to be an evolving thing, but we had a watch party at the beginning of January, and we had hundreds of people coming from as far as Washington State come down to New Braunfels to watch this documentary of this 8-day trip that we took, and it was phenomenal. It was great success, and it was well received. But goatstexastour.com, you can find all the stuff about that trip there. And icemanrides.com, that's my road name, and Gavin gave me that road name during the Texas tour. He one of our biggest things was making sure that he stayed cool during 100-degree heat, and so I had an ice chest on my bike, and at every stop, I'm swapping out a cooling vest, or a do-rag for him or whatever. And so, like, day 2 or day 3, and he's pretty bashful, pretty shy kid, right? So, like, he didn't even acknowledge my existence for the first couple of days, but the day 3 or so, he started opening up to me, and he's like, "Hey, Iceman, I need a pickle, or I need I need my cooling vest or whatever." And then the name stuck. So that's
Yeah.
everybody refers to me as Iceman now. So I bought the domain name icemanrides.com. It's my
Love it.
contact information, and it changes frequently, but like the stuff that we're doing, like for donations, whenever we get donations, I bought a whole bunch of shirts. And so, like, for every $25 donation, I'm giving out free shirts, and it says
Yeah.
Monster on it, and that changes, right? But you can find all that stuff at icemanrides.com. And the other thing is mybluegoat.com is the story of me and Gavin, and how the blue goat became a thing. Pretty interesting. And so, of course, I bought that domain name, and I put together a link directly to that story on my blog. So that's my spotlight, man. That's it. That's all I got.
Man.
So 13 minutes and 15 seconds. Damn it. I was practicing, guys. I was trying not to go over, because I know I could ramble. So I owe you 3 minutes.
It's it's not about the time, honestly, Jason. Like that, it's what you guys are doing is just amazing. For one, bringing awareness, but fulfilling that dream. Just to hear, like, you know, like Gavin, for example, right? He wanted to hit all the Texas Harleys, right?
Yeah, nobody really knows where that came from either. They're like, how do you come up with that?
Yeah, that's so cool. Because I'm gonna be honest, and if any bikers see this, I don't care. Like, I was biker born and biker bred, like it's in my blood, right? And I rode for many years, and my son rides his little mini bikes everywhere. I don't know if you got to see his chopper the other day. I posted.
That thing looks cool, man.
Yeah,
Y'all getting it running, huh?
yeah. I dug it out of it was in the bed of my '64 C10, and it'd been in there. I didn't realize it'd been in there like 2 years already. I dug it out and got it fired up from him. We got it all cleaned up and stuff. So he'll be riding that here soon. Mom's real nervous about that, right? But you know, like, just amazing that y'all took him on the Texas tour, right? Like, there's so many bikers that, as grown men and adults, will never even do that.
Oh, yeah, no way.
Like, there's so many guys that they don't leave one side of town. They jump on their bike on
Bar
Saturday
hopping,
or
yeah.
Sunday, and they just bar hop, and
And all respect to those guys, that's what they want to do, But yeah, Gavin has done something that a lot of adults won't or can't do.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at is, man, that's an iron butt, man. It's a lot of miles. People don't realize that, so Very cool, man.
we did 750, 800 miles in one day.
Ooh,
You know, and I mean, so we do long distance challenges, you know, the whole Mile Monsters outfit is you know, filled with people that do long distance riding. You know, I frequently do 1,000 mile days, 1,500 mile days. But I'm a grown man and I'm healthy, you know,
yeah,
pretty healthy. I could be healthier, but you know, for an 8-year-old with Deucens to do 800 miles in one day in record breaking heat in Texas is it's a that's an amazing thing. I mean, you say it out loud and it's like, yeah, wow, that's really great. But I mean, to see it, you know, as I actually saw it was just kind of phenomenal.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we drove to Kansas last week, and it was like 9 hours, and it was in the truck. You know what I mean? In the comfort of the truck, and we were dead tired like when we got there. So, I mean, I've ridden a lot of miles, you know, over the years, you know,
Hmm.
but I've never done those trips. So my hat off to you, man. My hat is off to you and your guys, you know, your team there. They're doing amazing things for these kids, man. Like you said.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm really fortunate to, like I said, to be a part of it and see it, to get the front row seat, you know, because I'm pretty standoffish whenever I see shit like this on the internet, you know,
Sure.
because people, you know, people fly by nights and you know whatever. There's whatever, but
Yeah.
to get a first front row seat to see how it actually went down.
Yeah.
One of the things was we had anticipated going into Mexico. There's this deal by the border where you get on a donkey and they slap the ass on the donkey and the donkey takes you across the border and it goes into a little border town and it's
Wow.
not there's not a person that's guiding it. The donkeys just know where to go. And we were
Wow.
going to take Gavin on that. And then so like the day that we were going there, you know, we were getting all geared up. It was 4 o'clock in the morning or so. And they're putting it into the GPS. And one of the other riders, one of the other monsters, Twister, she goes, "Hey, this place ain't open." "Oh yeah, 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 it's open. It's closed right now, but it'll be open by the time we get there." I said, "No, it's closed all day." And so we weren't able to take them on that. But in order for us to do that, you know, the parents gave Riot and Hopper legal custody of their kid for 8 days, 10 days actually. But
Wow.
I think that says a lot about the organization, you know, like the trust. I mean, there wasn't just like some kid, you know, like they've been a part of Gavin's life since he was diagnosed,
Yeah.
you know, and so
Amazing.
there's a real sense of you know, family there, you know.
And how many, Jason, how many did I hear is 4 or 5?
There's 5 heroes that's in the Mile Monster program
And
right now.
you said one was in Ireland,
2 of them, Jack and Alfie, are in Ireland.
two are in Ireland.
So we fly them to here to United States, and that's what this year's ride that I'm going to get tased for. The money that we're raising for that is going to go to help cover the cost of their treatments because they get treatments here in America,
Okay.
and
Okay.
so the you know, flying them over and you know, putting them up and you know, like they make that trip several times a year, you know, and so the money that we're raising this year is going to go to help cover some of those costs.
Yeah.
But
Man,
yeah, it's a wild thing that these kids have to go through, you know.
yeah. Well,
So, but
it
yeah, it's a pretty lively group. It's very you know, there's a real sense of camaraderie once people get involved. It's like, oh wow, you know, these kids to see them come out of their shell, you know, because they have these huge social I don't want to say problems, but I mean, you know,
oh sure.
you're dealt this hard blow, you know, and then like you're still going to normal school, you know, and then sometimes you have to go in a wheelchair, and then the kids are making fun of you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, these kids are going through a lot. So most of the time they're pretty standoffish. They're pretty
Sure.
timid and not, you know, interested in people much, you know.
Yeah.
So the two you know, Gavin and also Turbo, since their involvement with Mile Monsters, they've come out of their shell, and I mean they've just like they've become these social butterflies. It's awesome. Turbo has his own show that he does on Mile Monsters on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and so it changes, you know. Right now he's playing, you know, of course he's just playing video games and he's talking to people in the side chat or whatever. but it first started out, he was doing the news of Turbo, and so like, he would go to, he lives in California, so if he would go to Disneyland, he'd take some footage and he would show it, and so he's got this openness, and he's talking to bikers, 50-year-old, 60-year-old bikers, and so there's salty language, and
Yeah.
and he's right there in there with that, and the parents are, they're supportive and they get in there with it, and it's really amazing to watch these kids kind of come into their own element whenever they thought how alone they were,
Yeah.
and so Gavin, he's another one. He's just, he's kind of come out of his shell too, and he's a I mean, all these kids are really, really, I mean, they're great kids, but they have their quirks about them, and seeing
Sure.
how they because I mean, they're basically they've got to mature. We have all of our life to live our life. You know what I mean? If we eat
Yeah.
right, and if we do basic exercise, and basic medicine and technology, now we're going to live to our 80s. Is a high probability. You know what I mean? We got
Right.
80 years to put in 80 years of experience.
Right.
These kids got 80 years of experience to live in 20 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of them get to be adults by the time they're 10,
Yeah.
in some kind of manner or another, because they're dealing with adults on a daily basis. So,
Yeah.
they miss a lot of their childhood, not only from the adult aspect of it, but the actual physical part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't get to ride bikes, run around and play, and recess or any other shit. They got treatments, and they got all this other stuff that they got to deal with. So
Yeah.
it's been a quite the journey. I'll tell you, it's been life changing for me. It really has.
I see
And
that.
so it definitely fills my bucket.
Yeah.
um I just, I love being uh useful however I can be. I have a pretty successful businesses, and I have some skills, and then I can apply those skills to Mile Monsters however I can. It's been really gratifying.
Yeah. I love that, man. I love that. And I can definitely see how it fills your bucket. Like I hear it and see it. And so that's really cool. So I'll ask the question, right? Like how can I or the group help you? Um,
So, like I was saying, donations and awareness are the two things that we focus on. Not everybody can donate, and I get that. And it seems to always be something going on. But awareness is the biggest thing that I'm personally kind of charging. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
um, on a personal level with you guys, it would be awesome if, occasionally you could share a story or something along those lines. But what I'm
Yeah.
looking to get from the group is on more of an entrepreneurial um lens, if you will, how I can better foster engagement and awareness, right? So like,
Mhm.
that's what I'm really looking for help with, is how can I uh develop that part of this role that I'm playing in Mile Monsters, the awareness part and the engagement part. The money is the money is important, so don't get me wrong. And I am going to do fundraising however I can. Like I said, I'm being tased this year. Last year I gave away $1,000 worth of prizes, flat screen TV and Apple shit or whatever, and I paid for all that out of my pocket. That also, I'm going to continue to develop, but the awareness part and the engagement part is really where I'm looking for, and I think we'll have the most value. You know, the money that's going to come um to solve this issue of Dushin's is going to come from a big corporation. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so it's tough for me to ask people for money. I've never been good at it, so and I don't ever really do it, so I always try to make sure that if I do, you're going to at least get your money's worth. I'm not just going to
Yeah.
ask you for a blank $50 and say thank you. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like giving out shirts or whatever, coins, whatever.
Right.
But uh and that's just my style. But the awareness part, the awareness and the engagement, how we can get people involved in doing their own thing. that's what I really want to focus on developing.
So let me ask this, and I'm gonna put Juan on the spot here.
Oh yeah, dude.
You know, could it make sense, Jason and Juan, if we were to put a link? Juan is developing my web page and stuff like that. You know, for Leverage Nation and all that, right? So, of course, when that's existence, right, I'm gonna be trying to generate traffic to drive traffic there, right, of people and spreading that link. But would it make sense to include whatever link you wanted at the bottom or somewhere? I don't even know. I'm not that dude, right? Like I don't know the design layouts and things, but you know, somehow to where it invites people to there. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I would love to take as much exposure as I could. Making that exposure impactful, I think I could probably even use some help with there too. You know, like I go crazy with buying domain names and all this stuff, and you
Yeah,
know,
I'm
sometimes it
addicted
gets,
too.
you know, sometimes it gets a little out of hand, a little carried away, and sometimes
Yeah,
it's confusing, and I'm aware of that confusion. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of just grasping at straws at this moment in time. There's a,
yeah,
you know, I've got I've got so many, you know, it's milemonsters.com, right? That's the start and end of all this.
yeah,
But my story in Mile Monsters is where I think could definitely be tweaked to a better sale or a better to foster better engagement. You know what I mean? So if
yeah,
I'm putting out icemanrides.com or if I'm putting out mybluegoat.com, you know, and then somebody can read this story, and that was the intent, right? And then so you cannot give money to mybluegoat.com. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You go there for a story. And if that story compels you, you're going to do more research on your own. And then I've put all the links on mybluegoat.com for you to go out and get involved however you want to get involved.
right.
Now, sometimes people need more than just, you know, an invite. Sometimes they need a, you know, a nudge, and I'm no good at that. I'm horrible at that nudge.
Yeah,
You know, I put together the information in front of people the best that I can, and I hope that they will get involved. You know what I mean?
right.
But I don't even roll that way. You know,
Yeah,
some
yeah,
people do. Some people, you know, they got huge hearts, and they're just like, you know, hey, here, take my money, or take this news art, whatever. You know, whatever the case may be. But like me personally, I probably wouldn't be involved with Mom Monsters the way that I am if I didn't have that front row seat like I got last year,
yeah,
you know? And so I'm trying to factor all those things in, like, you know, what works for me, what works for other people, what makes sense, what, you know, what is less confusing. All the fundraising is very confusing because, we got about 200 riders involved last year, you know, and 200 riders, 200 different fundraisers. Everybody's raising money for the same thing, but it's all different. You
yeah,
know, so it's like, oh, well, what do you mean? If I go here, I get a T-shirt, but if I go here, I get a coin, and over here, I could possibly win a Harley. You know, and so it's like, you know what? So that can get very confusing. That's more of an organizational thing that
sure.
I'm trying to work out with them.
Yeah,
But from my angle, it's here's my story. This is what it's about. I hope that it's compelling enough for you to get involved because I'm no good at the hard sell. You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Well, you know, I've been very fortunate and blessed that Juan and I have communicated quite a bit lately, and he's got a lot of great ideas, and he's got some good knowledge, and maybe the three of us can jump on a call, you know, separate from here and see how we can brainstorm that, and you know,
badass. I love it.
how we can help support it
Yeah.
from Leverage
Yeah.
Nation, you know.
Hey,
Uh,
I got something I want to share with you guys before I forget. Can you let me share my screen?
Yeah, yeah. Let me give it to you. Share. Oh, wait, I gotta go this way. It is right here. Participants. And then make host. There you go.
Now we're about value here, and I feel like you guys are gonna dig the shit out of this. So here we go. Let me share. Oh, I got so many options. Let's see here. Let me see. Where is this? Okay. So I've been thinking about this 10-minute presentation since last
Last
Wednesday,
week.
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I can talk at length about any of this stuff, but I can't, one of the things that I fail at is making everything concise and following some kind of outline structure.
Yeah.
So, the universe has been good to me, and I've been paying attention, and this has come. Let's see here. Hell, I can't tell if you can see it or not. Can you see? What can you see? Can you see me scrolling up and down with this?
No,
No.
Yeah.
Okay. What about here?
I see your mouse.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay? So you can see my screen. What's on my screen?
Uh-huh.
Mhm. Mile Monsters ride for a casual cause.
Uh-huh.
Oh no, that's not what.
10-minute presentation.
Damn it. See, I'm. This is kind of frustrating because I'm kind of a tech guy. Let's see here. Luckily, I don't have no porn or anything up. Let's see. Where is? I can't get the big menu here. Oh, there it is. So I'm supposed to be sharing. I'm supposed to be sharing. Hold control to select two desktops. I don't want two. I just want this one. All right. So it would be helpful if they would let me see what I'm sharing.
So we see like a triangle.
You see a triangle. Okay. All right. So, and then now,
The mile monsters again.
okay.
Yeah, down
So
there.
do you see me scrolling up and down?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. Great. So Gemini.google.com. It's like
Okay.
a chat GBT, right?
Uh-huh.
So I've been thinking about this and I'm like, I need to figure something out. So I went to Gemini.google.com and it's free. And in this prompt, I said, create talking points for a 10-minute presentation about being a writer for the Mile Monster charity. And it spit out this. This is all copy and paste. Um, and so it's like it did all of this just like this, and it did that on this screen here. But it's just easier for me to show you on this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it put together an introduction, and it's like, hey, spend 2 minutes here, do a hook, introduce yourself, introduce Mile Monsters, your ride experience. And of course, I didn't follow every little bullet point, but it gave
Sure.
me this outline, and I was like, oh, this is badass. So I tried my best to follow this, and then I had actually so I printed this out, and then I wrote down what it is that I wanted to share with you guys, by using this outline here. And then I got to say a full 10 minutes, from minute 0 to minute 10 one
Yeah.
time. And that was just a little while ago before we got on the call. And so I was trying to, I was like, well, what am I going to say and how am I going to say it? But anyways, my point though, what I think you guys would find value in is this Gemini. I've been using it for, and I use other things too, like Jasper AI and stuff like that. But this thing is so simple and easy to use. And for digital content, Alex, I don't know if you can still hear, but for digital content, I've been using it for the same thing. So for my motorcycle stuff, I've been using it to write a YouTube title, 55 words or less, for a rider certified Alder 1K challenge by riding from Texas through Louisiana. And then the result was Texas to Louisiana, conquering the Alder 1K challenge on my motorcycle. That's a badass title for a YouTube video that I wouldn't have come up with. And this
Yeah.
is a free resource. And so knowing how to, enter your prompts and then, tell it what it is that you're wanting, I think that's the real, that's the real stuff that you got to figure out. But I'm damn happy with the stuff that I've got from this already. I had it put together a vlog, content ideas, the Texas to Louisiana ride, sponsors, write a YouTube description based on the previous outline. I had an outline for a video that I'm going to do, and I was like, hey, write this description for me, and then so I'm getting tased for charity. Help me out, just like the little stuff in here. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's wise to ever use any of this type of stuff verbatim.
Sure.
but it definitely helps me in going down the right direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
A lot of things as an entrepreneur, I think you'll find is that you come to, I don't want to say analysis paralysis, but you come to this spot where it's like you've got 100 different ways you could go,
Yeah.
and it's like you want to make the best. You're not worried about necessarily making the perfect decision, but you got to make a decision. But it's like you got to do one out of 100. It's like shit. And then so like
Yeah.
whenever you have something like this, it just kind of gets you going down that road to at least start testing some
Yeah.
stuff. You know what I mean? So I thought you guys would I thought you guys would appreciate some of that and uh get some value out of it. I know I certainly have. So I was stoked to put it together, and I was like, oh man, this thing is killer. I said, so me and my son had lunch today, and I was like, hey, I want to show you something. And so I printed this out,
Yeah.
and I showed it to him, and he was like, wow. He goes, this is, wait a minute. And I said, yeah, I had Gemini put that together for me because I told him about it the other day, and he was like, holy shit.
Yeah, that is so
So,
cool.
so anyways,
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, let me see. JT. So we know how we can help support Jason, right? And what he's got going on. What could I or the group help you with? Is there anything that what would be of value to you?
Yeah, right now, I mean, I'm pretty tapped out right now, so I can't think of anything, but you'll be the first one I reach out to.
hey,
Alright.
whenever you need help counting your money from these listings, you let me know. I'll come
That's
help you out,
right.
man.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll see. In fact, I'm reading some email where I don't know if it's legitimate or not, but I guess the Army's getting ready to do a mandatory recall. So for retirees, we're getting ready to retire. So that's I don't know what the heck's going on. So that's kind of shocking right now that I'm getting this and crazy,
Of course,
crazy
right? You're
things
getting
going on
your
in the
life
world.
together and moving on, and hey,
And then
by
all
the
of a sudden
way,
the Army's like, yeah, we see something on the horizon, and if you're retiring or anything like this, is like I'm like clicking all these links, like this can't be real. I was like, but I don't know. We'll see. I got some research I got to do.
Oh man. Good luck, man. Good luck.
Yeah. Well, that could be a trickle down effect, right? It could trickle over to the Navy too.
It's possible.
Yeah,
Anything's
I don't know. Yeah, it could be. I mean, right now it's they call it the retire recall program, and
Wow.
it's pretty extensive, and it all starts like this, with these orders that come out and
yeah,
behind back channels, and next thing you know, it gets trickled out.
it's in several news articles right now. 4 days ago, 6 days ago,
Juan's
judge
checking
orders,
his
Army
email
Corps of
right
Engineers.
now.
U.S. Army is
He's
seeking
checking the
retirees to come
spam and
back to work.
Yeah, yeah. First they'll ask, and then
Wow.
they'll
Tell you.
first they'll ask you politely, and all of a sudden it's like, nope, you're not gonna retire. You got to stay
Yeah.
on board for another 2 years. That's the way it happens.
That's that
Mhm.
voluntold, right?
Yeah.
The voluntold practice.
Just got to
Gee.
get my disability in order, man. As soon as I'm
It says even if you got disability, everything will stop. They'll put you back on active duty stat. I'm serious. It's like right now, it's like I'm reading this order, and so it's like if you can have disability, it's like you'll stop getting your disability payments. You'll get put back on the payroll. It's like you'll get your
Wow.
clearance back. It's like if that happens, it better just be here in San Antonio. I better not be shipped out to some other city because that's a PCS. That's a permanent change of station. That's a whole different nightmare.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
But
hope
Jason, you said it's in. You said you can find it. It's in the Google or what?
I just Googled Army recall, and then the very first site is Army HRC. But I mean that's more about the regulation and how it works, and then there was a couple articles that I looked and saw 4 days ago.
and that went off the rails real
Ridiculous.
quick.
I got really shitty bad quickly.
Oh man.
Sorry, man.
Yeah. So if you want to help me, I mean, if you can keep me on the retirement list, I really appreciate that. I really have no ambition.
Call your
I'm like,
Oh man.
in fact, I'm going to supply tomorrow to turn in all my stuff, and I may show up tomorrow. It's like, hey, sir, Yeah, we're not gonna take your stuff because you're
Hold
not
on
going
to it
anywhere
for
for
us.
2 years.
Hold on
Yeah.
to it for us for a little bit.
Wow, man. Well, let's try Alex. Let's see if Alex Alex, what can we do for you? What can we do as a group, Alex? Is there anything I can do or the group can do to help you? Alex going once. Alex going twice.
Oh, wait, can you hear me? Oh, sorry. Okay, I had you on mute. My bad. No, no, just the knowledge y'all are pouring in is great right now. I definitely want to, uh, I mean, just yeah, after hearing more about the organization, Jason, I definitely want to, man, yeah, just it's kind of breaking my heart.
Yeah.
You know, just thinking about my son, you know, who's only 5, and to imagine him having to go through something like that, I don't think I could handle it. So,
Yeah, man.
yeah, it just definitely resonated with me, and just you know, hope, you know, just praying that hopefully nothing like that happens. But you know, just if something like that does, and you know, at least we've got the resources. But no, so I definitely, yeah, let me know what we can do to share and promote, and like you said, just make it more, give it more awareness. Yeah, definitely let me know. Yeah, and anything I see on your Facebook, I'll definitely be sure to share and pass along. So
Thanks, man. That would much appreciated. The social media is it's a fickle thing, right? Because like you don't want to come across spammy, and there's so much shit
right.
that I don't share because I'm like, at some point I got to make sure that all my buddies, all my Facebookians, they still know I'm human and not just a spam bot spitting out the
Oh,
same
right.
stuff. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so that's tough. That's a tough ask sometimes, but occasionally, you know,
Yeah.
it's just getting in front of that right guy, the right person that's going to solve this disease and cure this disease. It just doesn't know about it yet.
That's right. Yeah, Juan, how about you, Juan? Is there anything the group can do to help you, or I can do to help you, or?
Yeah, so before I do that, I just wanted to ask, like, if we buy anything off of the shop, off the My Monster shop, does all that go towards the same fund?
Yeah. So yes, all the money it's a 501c3 charity. All the money that's raised goes into one pot.
Mhm.
Now, what's different is the different campaigns. Um, each rider is doing their own thing.
Oh,
Last year there was a lady, her name is Honor, and she rode her motorcycle every single day, 365 days a year, to raise money and awareness. And so she had her own campaign, honor roll, and then so we continue that tradition this year with the second Tuesday of every month, with 7 days in a row. Anyway, but I mean, so like there's different things. And so my personal fundraising element to all of this is constantly changing.
yeah.
So if you go to my campaign and donate, depending on what time, like currently I'm giving away a free shirt, for every $25 donation, you get a free shirt,
Mhm.
and then, this year, what I've decided to do is every $1,000 that will change. On top of all of that, um, as riders, we are, participating in this one ride. Um, uh, it escapes me exactly what day it is, but we are participating in this one ride. It's a 1,000-mile ride, and they're giving away a Harley, right? And so
Nice.
you can get tickets as a rider, like myself. There's several different ways that I can get a ticket. So every 1,000 miles that I ride on that day is a ticket. Showing up in Lebanon is a ticket. Every $1,000 that I raise is a ticket. So what I decided to do was, I'm giving away all those tickets. And so how I do that is through the fundraising. And so, in addition, like right now, I'm giving away a free T-shirt.
Mhm.
And so, $25 gets you a shirt. And also that gets you 5 entries into winning one of my tickets, right? And then so
Or-
every $1,000 that we raise, I'll do a live, and then we'll spin the wheel. There's a program. You spin the wheel, and then somebody's going to get my entry into winning that Harley. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
So that's a lot of stuff to digest, right? And try to get into a sound bite, and that's one of the things that I struggle with, because
Yeah,
as simple as I try to keep things, it gets convoluted quick.
yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
can see that. Yeah,
Okay. No, that's really cool. Yeah, I'm really excited to get on a call and talk about how we can like maximize that.
Badass, man. I appreciate
yeah.
it. I use all the help I can get.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun, I think. Um, and as for me, man, I just appreciate, being able to come to this group, man, to be, to talk business and get some insight on things. I'm still pretty new when it comes to being a marketing company, so I'm trying to scale. So conversations around, bringing in employees and stuff like that, like I'd love to hear your guys' stories, your experiences with that, just to, get some more insight on how I could do it, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, definitely. Like next week we can tap into that a little bit, or we could even, jump on another call later on at some time.
mhm.
If you want to jump in that, like Alex actually just tapped into that. I know he just brought on two new team members, and
Yeah.
he's got an amazing Nicole Davis that I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex, I'm going to say something, and I'd like to get your feedback since you're fairly new to hiring employees, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to say this, and I want to hear what you think about this.
Okay.
So I went into business for myself in 2007, and it took me from 2007 to 2013 to hire my first employee.
Oh, okay.
After I hired my first employee, I hired 4 more in the same year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My point is, it took me way too long to hire my first employee. I wish I would have hired them a lot sooner.
Uh-huh.
But this, you getting in your head about, if I can, if I can afford it, if that, whatever. I just should have done it a long time ago.
Right.
So
Okay.
I'm curious, how do you feel if any of that resonates with you?
Yeah, yeah, no. I mean, for us, it was more me wanting to try and take some load off my wife's plate. So that's why we definitely started looking for somebody pretty early on, because we were starting to get some traction, and the workload on her end was getting it was getting pretty heavy. So that's the reason why we started looking a little earlier for a new team member. But Jacob knows this firsthand, that we were having a hard time finding people that actually wanted to work. We you know
Yeah.
we put out ads, or not ads, but we put out just letting people know that, hey, we're looking for somebody, and we'd have people call or show interest, but then when they actually scheduled an appointment to come talk with me, they never showed up. So it was just really hard, and for this happened for a couple months. We couldn't find anybody that was pretty serious about wanting to join our team, and then that's when Jacob introduced us to Nicole, and she was just perfect, just the right time, right person, just everything aligned, and she's definitely been a blessing to our team, and just the growth of our company, and it's definitely helped us, I guess, from our perspective. It's been able to allow us to focus on other aspects of the business, in order to continue it to
Yes.
grow. So yeah,
You got to
so
work on the business as much as in the business, man.
exactly. And for my wife, it was a little hard for her to kind of let go of that control, and that and her process. But it we definitely she definitely had to, if she wanted to make things a little easier, and be able to do more things as well. She had to let go of some of that control, and just learn to just learn to trust that, okay, you know what, we got somebody competent, and efficient, and that is a hard worker, and that is a good worker. So we can definitely she can definitely let go of some of that, and actually, now that Nicole's definitely been a huge asset. She's actually doing more than what we were expecting, and we're able to actually give her more responsibility, and so it's definitely helping us grow a lot. But it was a little hard at first.
I'll say this, man, that I mostly make decisions based on best case, worst case scenarios. And what you'd said about, you know, process and, you know, your wife had to let go of some things and let Nicole do things kind of her own way or differently than what your wife's used to.
Right.
Best case, worst case. I was in a similar situation. Whenever I was growing, I grew fast. I had come accustomed to doing payroll and invoicing and accounts receivable a certain way. And a person that has not had any formal training in doing any of that, I did what made sense to me and what, you know, I could get, you know,
Right. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you
Yeah.
know, I know how to use Excel and I'm very basic. You know, I bill a certain way because my feeble brain
Right.
can handle it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whenever I hired somebody to run the office and that was part of the job duties, it was night and day different. And I
Right.
was like,
Yeah.
I said, Chelsea, I tell you what, I will buy any program that you want and I will pay for you to learn any program that you want. But if you use QuickBooks, this is one thing, this is the only program on any of these computers that I will not get involved with. And so she was like, well, I know QuickBooks. And I was like, all right, go for it. You know,
Right.
and so like, I was like, the only requirements that I have is like, I want my logo and I want it to look like this. And I want people to see this. And I want it to always be on one page. You can make those those factors work. I don't give a shit how you do it, you know?
Right. Exactly.
You
Yeah.
got to send smoke signals to make these numbers change. Whatever, that's on you. That's your job.
Yeah.
Right.
And so the best case was it worked perfectly, and it was something that I didn't have to worry about, and it was worth what I was paying her. In addition to lots of the other things that she was doing, for that to be out of my brain.
Right.
The worst case was whenever we had to downsize, and I had to get rid of her. Actually, she quit. Whenever she quit, I had to figure out what the fuck was going on.
Oh, right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but
I totally get you. Yeah.
but the worst case scenario really wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? I still had work and I was still able to invoice, and those, you know, like there was some weird transition going on, and some people, some of my customers were kind of, I wouldn't even say agitated. They were just like, hey, is everything going on? Is everything okay over there? Yeah, everything's fine.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm just working out some,
Just some changes, right? Yeah. Just
kinks.
some
You know what I mean?
changes. Yeah.
But best
Yeah.
case, worst case, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, best
Right.
case, it could work perfectly. Worst case, you'll just have to do it again. You know, you'll just have to, you know, take it back over.
Right.
And that worst
Yeah.
case isn't really that bad, you know.
It's good
Anyways.
to know. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome insight.
My 2 cents.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
All right,
Yeah.
guys, good stuff. Well, thank y'all for jumping on again tonight. And man, I appreciate y'all. I'm excited about each week I feel like there's just more and more that you guys are pouring into each other. And ultimately that's the whole idea, right? Is like, as entrepreneurs in our different aspects and the different backgrounds we're bringing to the table and what we're doing and how we view it, just supporting each other, and being able to share those experiences, the good and the bad, like, so we can either avoid or hopefully, maybe, shorten the learning curve,
Mm-hmm.
right? In certain aspects, so, I know Juan will be soon getting ready for adding a team member and some of that stuff. And so I know that, he'll definitely tap into you guys because he and I had those conversations. And, as he continues to formulate that and formulate the structure of his business and stuff, and Alex as well, like, delegating duties and different things and, everything that you guys have going on. And JT's in a huge transition right now that, it's now I'm on pins and needles. I'm going to be watching the news, which I really
Right. Yeah, for sure.
which I really don't watch very often, anymore. Now I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about this. I mean, it came out the 21st, and today I've been in and out of every major headquarters office. Somebody would
news.
have told me like, hey, we can't sign this approval because you're not going to be retiring. So
yeah,
that's going to be the first point of business tomorrow morning. It's like, hey, what's going on with this? Maybe
right.
it doesn't apply to my MOS. Maybe it doesn't apply to my job. My job is not too specialized. I'm not a Intel or analyst like that. So I'm just a logistician. There's a lot of logisticians in the Army. So
Yeah.
I'm sure if they're specialized, that'd be a different case.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, guys. Anything else? Anything y'all need from me or
Who's up next week?
each other? let me see. So we went, well, I guess that's gonna be JT.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. I saw the standard. It's gonna be hard to surpass that, but I know you say I only have 10 minutes.
I think 10 minutes, give or take, works,
Yeah, give or take 3 minutes.
give or take, right? Like, I mean, like, it's all good. I mean, I feel like I don't feel like anybody's rushing to get off this call. And the call that I used to have right after this one moved to Tuesday nights. So that just really opened the window for me, because my Wednesday evening is just dedicated to Leverage Nation, to you guys, so my wife takes the kids to boxing, and this is my focus. Last week I was in Kansas, and we had back to back events where Daniel was speaking, and we had a mixer, and we had all kinds of stuff going on there, and I wasn't going to be able to, so I appreciate y'all making the adjustment so I can move it, to Thursday. But yeah, give or take 10 minutes, give or take, and we'll roll with it. It's all good,
Yeah, I'll be ready. I look forward to the conversation.
All right, good stuff, guys. Anything else? Anything y'all need? Anything you want to strategize? Anything y'all need help with? Nope. All right, good stuff, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all, and we'll catch up soon.
All right, guys.
All right. Thanks
That's
again.
good.
Thanks, Jason.
All right.
Yep.
Bye-bye.